Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll be learning another piece of one of the most celebrated poets of the 20th century. His piece is entitled, And Death Shall Have No Dominion. But before that, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt a connection to someone who has passed away? How did that experience make you think about the nature of death? Did it make you feel like death was a true ending? Or did it make you wonder if there's something more? Later on, we will answer and learn more about as we go through our discussion this morning. At this point, let's talk about the mind behind the masterpiece. When we're captivated by a story, a poem, or a piece of writing that truly resonates, we can help but wonder, who is this person? What kind of life has shaped their words? What experience have fueled their imagination? Dylan Thomas was a celebrated Welsh poet known for his intensely lyrical and emotional poetry as well as a tumultuous personal life. He was born on October 27, 1914 in Swansea, South Wales. So Dylan Thomas became a leading figure in 20th century literature before his untimely. He died on November 9, 1953 in New York City. And based on the article that I have read, Thomas was died not by his heavy drinking, but by the mistakes and oversights of his physician. He was found to be suffering from pneumonia by doctors who examined him when he was admitted in a coma to New York hospital, where he died shortly after his 39th birthday. Thomas was exposed to various literary influences and began writing at a young age. So he was first influenced by his father, who was a professor of English literature. By the way, his father is a teacher kung asa siya gaskwela. So his father's dedication to literature introduced Thomas to numerous great poets at an early age, fostering a love for language and poetry that would become pivotal in his own writing. Dylan Thomas' writing was profoundly influenced by the landscape, language, and culture of Swansea, where he was born and raised. Okay, so this interaction with his environment informed his poetic voice and artistic sensibilities, allowing him to weave complex themes into his work that resonate with emotional depth and cultural richness. In addition, Thomas dropped out of school at 16 to become a junior reporter for the South Wales Daily Post. However, his position with the Post didn't last long, though he quit in December 1932 and turned his attention away from journalism and back to poetry. Dylan Thomas' first collection of poetry, titled 18 Poems, was published in December 1934, marking a significant milestone in his literary career. So, this publication was notable and still resonates today and is remembered for its unique style and compelling imaginative language. Next is Thomas' poetry often featured introspective themes involving love, death, and redemption, drawing from his Welsh heritage. Thomas' cultural heritage strongly influenced his subject matter, instilling in him a deep appreciation for Welsh traditions, myths, and legends. His connection to his family's farming roots in Carmarthenshire enriched his writing with authenticity and resonance. And lastly, his poetry often reflects elements of Welsh literary tradition, particularly the bardic style. This is seen in Thomas' adoption of mythological and religious imagery, which connects his writing to broader narrative tradition inherent in Welsh folklore, helping to convey a sense of historical continuity. Now, I have here some of his notable works. First, we have the Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night. This poem is one of the Thomas' famous work, characterized by its plea against death and its intricate villanelle form. Next is The Fern Hill, a nostalgic reflection on a childhood and nature. This poem captures the beauty of youth and the invisibility of aging. Also, we have the Undermilk Wood. This celebrated play for voices provides a vivid depiction of life in a small Welsh village, showcasing its inhabitants' dreams and aspirations. And lastly, the literary piece that we will be analyzing, and death shall have no dominion. And now, let us discuss the context of the poem's creation. And Death Shall Have No Dominion was written in 1933, a time of significant cultural and historical upheaval. It serves as a response to the existential concerns brought about by the lingering effects of World War One, the economic challenges of the Great Depression, and the shifting literary movements. The poem's title is an allusion to the Bible, specifically the epistle to the Romans 6, verse 9. The phrase, and death shall have no dominion, is a direct reference to Romans 6, verse 9, which states, for we know that Christ being raised from the dead dieth no more. Death hath no dominion over him. This verse emphasizes that through resurrection, Christ transcends the mortality of the physical body, illustrating the belief that death is not the end, and but rather a transition. Aside from the poem was promoted by a challenge from Bertrick, a grocer and amateur poet, who suggested that each poet compose verses on immortality. Dylan Thomas wrote, and death shall have no dominion, partly in response to the death of his father, reflecting themes of mortality and the enduring nature of the human spirit. While the poem deals with universal concepts of life and death, it also addresses his personal relationship with loss, particularly the grief and the defiance associated with his father's impending demise. And now I will give the floor to Teacher Brian to analyze the poem.
And death shall have no dominion. Dead men naked they shall be one, with the man in the wind and the west moon. When their bones are picked clean and the clean bones gone, they shall have stars at elbow and foot. Though they go mad, they shall be sane. Though they sink through the sea, they shall rise again. Though lovers be lost, love shall not, and death shall have no dominion. This piece begins with the first repetition of the title line. This line, and death shall have no dominion, runs throughout this poem like a refrain. It appears at the beginning and the ending of each stanza, as well as serving as the title. It is important to understand that this phrase is used to assert that, no matter the circumstances, death shall have no dominion. Death is not all-powerful as it is sometimes made out to be. The word dominion refers to power, control, or rule. The second line of this point presents one of the ways in which death is not all-powerful. It does not divide men as they die, but brings them together. All of these, dead men naked shall be one, death will bring them together. All men from all walks of life. Naked implies a stripping away of everything, meaning physical possessions, social status, even the body itself. In death, everyone becomes equal. The word one is essential because it suggests that although individuals die, they become part of a larger whole, such as a spiritual realm, collective unconscious, or the natural world. These two lines express the idea that death can take away the physical body, but it can touch the separate memories or the connections that bind us together. In the following lines, the speaker begins using more magical imagery, like the man in the wind and the man in the west moon shall be among those that are united. This type of imagery is common in Thomas' work. It is important throughout the reading of this piece to remember the refrain of the poem, which is the line, and death shall have no dominion, and remind oneself what point Thomas is trying to make. Mentally inserting the title of this piece before the fourth line of this stanza can help keep the poem in context. Death shall have no domain. When their bones are picked clean and the clean bones gone, death's lack of control is not temporary. It is everlasting. Even when it has taken a man, cleaned his bones, and destroyed the clean bones, still it will not have total control. These men that are less than bones will still have stars at elbow and foot, refers to the fifth line of the poem. The next three lines each begin with a though statement. It is after these lines that the reader may again want to remember the title or refrain of this poem. The first of these lines is a contrasting statement that even when one of these men is mad, he is actually sane, because each will experience the same world. If everyone is insane, no one is. The second though statement makes another clear reference to death, and this time to the resurrection, a distinctly religious image that should not be overlooked. Men will sink through the sea, and they shall rise again. Lastly, the final though statement is to do with emotional death. Even though death may bring an end to specific love, it cannot end love in its own entirety. This stanza ends as do the following two with the opening line, and death shall have no dominion. Though they go mad, they shall be sane. Though they sink through the sea, they shall rise again. Though lovers be lost, love shall not, and death shall have no dominion. This line uses strong paradoxes and vivid imagery to convey the speaker's belief that despite hardship and loss, there is a lasting essence that goes beyond death. And the use of anaphora, the repetition of the word though in the line 6, 7, and 8. And death shall have no dominion. Under the windings of the sea, they lying long shall not die windily, twisting on racks when sinews give way. Strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. Faith in their hands shall snap in two, and the unicorn evils run them through. Split all ends up, they shan't crack, and death shall have no dominion. The second stanza of the poem begins another repetition of the refrain, and death shall have no dominion. And then with another reference to the sea is described as being winding. Its layers of water are twisting around one another, and within the water are those lying long, use of alliteration here with a double I sound. The bodies of dead men are stretched out under the water and appear long in a limb. They are said to have not died windily. They did not have long drawn-out deaths, but met it perhaps in an instant. The fourth line of the poem introduces another way to meet death that is much more painful through torture and agony. Twisting on racks when sinews give way, strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. This line, the rack and the wheel, reference two different medieval torture devices, and even though these men's lives are ending horribly, they do not break. This idea is continued throughout the rest of this stanza. Twisting on racks where sinews give way, strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. Faith in their hands shall snap in two. These lines describe brutal torture methods and the speaker's belief in the recipient despite such a suffering. The line twisting on racks when sinews give way describes a terrible torture device called the rack. It stretches the body until tendons and ligaments tear. Strapped to a wheel, this might relate to another torture device. The breaking wheel, where the victim is crushed or shattered on a large wheel, yet they shall not break, suggesting incredible physical and perhaps even mental resilience. The line, faith in their hands shall snap in two, introduces the concept of faith. Their faith may in their hand snap in two, and the unicorn evils of the world may run them through, but they will not break. These men are having their faith taken from them and meeting every kind of evil, but still they are strong and death does not take everything from them. The thought in the line and the unicorn evils run them through flaws directly into the line of split all ends up vision crack without a natural pause. This enjambment creates a sense of continuity and fluidity, reflecting the poem's broader theme of endurance and the flow of life and death. Unicorn evils run them through. The irony lies in the combination of the symbol of the unicorn, because traditionally representing purity and innocence, with evils. This ironic image suggests that even forces of good can cause suffering, but it is not enough to overpower the human spirit. The phrase "shan't crack" means despite this extreme violence, the speaker insists they shall not crack. This again emphasizes the incredible resilience of the human spirit. The repeated line, "and death shall have no dominion," emphasizes the poem's core message. Even horrific suffering can't break the human spirit, and death's power remains limited. These lines create a powerful and disturbing image, highlighting the resilience of the human spirit in the face of extreme suffering. They contribute to the poem's message that death's power is limited and something within us goes beyond physical distraction. Third stanza. "And death shall have no dominion, no more may gulls cry at their ears, or waves break loud on the seashore. Where blew a flower may a flower no more lift its head to the blows of the rain. Through they be mad and dead as nails. Heads of the characters hammers through daisies, break in the sun till the sun breaks down, and death shall have no dominion." At stanza 3, "and death shall have no dominion, no more may gulls cry at their ears or waves break loud on the seashore," the first line is repeated throughout. It's a powerful declaration that death won't ultimately control humanity. Gulls cry is a sound often associated with the sea in the natural world. Here, it represents a sensory experience that the dead can no longer have. There are multiple instances of enjambment in the stanza, such as "between waves break loud on the seashore, where blew a flower may a flower no more, and lift its head to the blows of the rain." This continuation of thought across lines adds a flowing, uninterrupted rhythm to the stanza, reflecting the constant motion of nature in the cycle of life and death. Where blew a flower may a flower no more lift its head to, in the first line, flowers symbolizes beauty, life, and growth. The phrase "may a flower no more" suggests that a specific flower that once existed is now gone, possibly due to death or destruction. The next line continues to the focus on flower. The word "head" personifies of the flower, giving it the ability to lift its head. The word "blows" suggests a harsh or even violence against the flower. The inability to respond to the rain emphasizes the flower's lifelessness. The use of "they" is ambitious and could refer to the flowers or the people who have died. Mad suggests a state of chaos, confusion, or even anger. It adds complexity to the concept of death. Death as nails is a strong simile, emphasizing the complete and utter lifelessness of they. These lines convey a sense of loss and the powerlessness of death compared to the natural world. Even something beautiful and life-giving like a flower cannot resist death's touch. However, the ambiguity of "they" in the last line allows for further interpretation. It might not just refer to flowers but also to the complexity of human experience in the face of death. Heads of the characters hammer through daisies, break in the sun till the sun breaks down, and death shall have no dominion. Next line is the refrain of the poem repeated throughout. It means that death will not have control or power over these characters. The sea is brought into the poem once more at this point, as it is made clear these men will never again hear a seagull cry at their ears, or hear the waves break on the seashore. These experiences that many take for granted are gone forever, and this loss is emphasized with the next line, as the speaker emphasizes the lost by saying, "And death shall have no dominion." Rhyme scheme of the poem: stanza 1, A A B A B C C B A. Stanza 2, A A B A C D D C A. Stanza 3, A A B A C D D C A. Tone: the tone of Dylan Thomas and Death Shall Have No Dominion is defiant, triumphant, and reverent. The poem challenges the power of death, with the refrain repeatedly asserting that despite suffering and destruction, death cannot fully conquer the human spirit. This defiance gives way to a sense of triumph as the poem celebrates resilience and endurance, depicting the dead rising again and enduring even after their physical demise, symbolizing resurrection and victory over death. At the same time, the poem carries a reverent tone, as Thomas portrays life and death as part of a cosmic cycle. Through imagery of nature, waves, the sea, flowers, and the sun, he expresses awe and respect for the natural world, despite its challenges and inevitable decay. The theme of the poem in "And Death Shall Have No Dominion" by Dylan Thomas explores the themes of death, the journey of the soul, and nature's cycle. Death is portrayed not as an end, but as a phase in the journey where the human spirit triumphs over physical decay, emphasizing its resilience. Nature plays a crucial role with images of the sea, wind, and flowers reflecting the natural cycle of life and death. Poet form. The free verse form allows for fluidity, while the repetitive refrain "And death shall have no dominion" reinforces the central theme of defying death's power. Lyrical elements alongside rich symbolism and imagery evoke the idea that though life and nature may fade, the spirit endures eternally.
In conclusion, "And Death Shall Have No Dominions" is a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of life, defying death's grasp through the cyclical nature of existence and the unwavering strength of love. That ends our report, and thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone.